It's 2023 and Phyrexian Dreadnought just top 80 to Vintage Challenge. You know I have to try this deck. I'll see you in round one. Welcome back, Vintage Gamers. One of friends of the stream, Crazy Diamond, has top 8'd with a beautiful looking brew. We've got a Phyrexian Dreadnought deck. It is foregoing the classic Stifle Dreadnought combination, and instead is playing some newer cards that I think are maybe a bit more powerful. So we have 4 dress downs. Creatures lose all abilities. So if your Phyrexian Dreadnought enters the battlefield, it's clause of enter the battlefield, sack it unless you sacrifice any number of creatures with total power at 12 or greater does not happen. So you just get a 1 mana 12/12 trample. And then we also have the Mycosynth Gardens, kind of a pretty new card still. It is a colorless land that can filter mana of any color, but it also has tap X and it become a copy of non-token artifact you control with mana value X. So if you play a Phyrexian Dreadnought and you put the ability on the stack, and then you copy it with the Gardens. The Gardens copy does not have the enter the battlefield effect, and thus you get a 12/12 Trampler. Of course, if you just have a Dreadnought in play, you can just get another 12/12 Trampler. So yeah, it's going to be pretty exciting. This is 74 out of 75 cards from a challenge top 8 list. The only change I made is I took one bauble out and put a 4th Lorien Revealed in. And that is what we're just going to do. We're going to run it as is. Opponent, or I shouldn't say opponent. Deck creator has chosen to play Wastelands and Gardens, but not play Urza Saga. Urza Saga is a combo a little bit with Phyrexian Dreadnought in the fact that it searches Dreadnought out, but it's also a little bit of a non-bo with the fact that if you dress down with construct tokens in play, your construct tokens die. And normally I advocate in Vintage that you don't worry about dress down killing your constructs in, like a Esper Tinker deck. But that's when you're playing like 1 or 2 dress downs and you're, kind of have a saga, you can use your saga or not use your saga. In this case, I think it actually definitely makes sense to not include saga. So yeah, we're going to play, basically, it's kind of the blue-black Luris saga control shell, but without the sagas, and instead we're playing Gardens and Dreadnoughts and dress downs. But everything else is, restricted blue cards, Spell Pierce, Negation, Force of Will. The 4 of the best card from Lord of the Rings, the common Lorien Revealed. And then sideboard, you got like plenty of graveyard hate. Looks like a good solid 7 anti-graveyard with some of this splashing into anti-oath. It makes a lot of sense to be playing anti-oath cards right now. Oath is one of the most popular decks in the format, just kind of due to the way the metagame is currently shaking up. Also have some anti-workshops cards in Sabotage and Hercules, an extra anti-combo card with a Flusterstorm, and some mono white removal with Dismember and Snuff Out. I'm pretty excited. Should be a pretty fun league. I have definitely tried some Dreadnought dress down decks in the past, and they haven't worked super well for me, but maybe metagame shifts have put this in a good spot. Like, for instance, against blue-black Luris Saga Control, they don't have a very good answer to a resolved Dreadnought. So, see what happens in round 1. Are you interested in weekly vintage metagame recommendations? Do you want to see your deck list played on my channel? Or maybe you are just looking for the best way to support my vintage content. Make sure you check out the Patreon link in the description below. Let's battle. Okay, here we go. Round 1, Vintage League with the Dreadnoughts. On the play versus RDFI, I have a cat. I also have Mycosynth Gardens dress down double Dreadnought. Holy moly. Okay, so I'm going to keep. No, I don't think so. The arena economy is just not playable if you don't invest time, and time is actually the thing I have the least amount of. If the arena economy was, I could buy things at a relatively reasonable price, then I would just play it, probably. Because, it's not unreasonable. But like the price to buy things is just not reasonable, and they can't really make it reasonable, or it's not really how the model works. I should have played this Sapphire before I played this Mycosynth Gardens, probably. I don't think it's going to end up mattering. We're just planning to end of turn dress down and go for double knots. And then we actually have triple knots if any of them resolve because we have the Mycosynth Gardens. We also have this sick wasteland to hit something. So I really like this hand. This hand is pretty sweet. The problem with this hand, obviously, is I don't have a Forcible in my hand. If I had a Forcible in my hand, I feel like this hand would be amazing. But like if they, go for a turn one Tinker, we might lose. But if they go for something more fair than that, then we have some pretty sweet game. One of the biggest problems with Phyrexian Dreadnought is actually the fact that it's an artifact. Means you can get really, really wrecked by things like Force of Vigor. That's a huge one that we have to hope our opponent's not really on. Emerald could mean anything, so no way to jump to conclusions yet. Island Oath. Wow. So, yeah, that's not great for us. If we go dress down, make 2 12/12s, my opponent then goes Atraxa off Oath. We do have a dress down to like attack through. We also like kind of want to dress down their Atraxa trigger. I think we need more mana before we go for this because if we were to go right now, we wouldn't have the ability to dress down again. It's like a pretty rough spot to be in for sure. I think we have to wait. Well, I assume this is the Oath deck that is currently in what's the phrase in vogue? FOMO. The show and tell. Oh my opponent, the show and tell Oath list. So those lists typically do not run a Force of Vigor in the main. So yes, also FOTM. Lots of them. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna push it right now. I think I'm just gonna wait, play my Wasteland, and pass. Now I actually hit a nice little spot where I can dress down and then play Dreadnought, and have dress down again. Saga tokens. So this is not going to be the... This is not going to be the copy-paste of the Show and Tell Oath deck because they do have Urza's Saga. I wonder if we can continue waiting or if we should fire off the dress down. The problem is they do still have like hard cast force. I think I can just wait longer. Triple Dreadnought. Okay. I don't even think I'm wastelanding this Saga. I think I just want access to all my mana. But now we have to be wary of the fact that our opponent can play Vigors. I mean, they could always play Vigor, but like they're more likely now to play Vigor when you know they're not on a stock list, right? All right. Well, my opponent has 3 cards in hand. Unfortunately, they have Hardcast Force. If they... What is the worst thing they can get off this Saga? A Sensei's Top? So if I were to dress down now, I can still only really play 2 Dreadnoughts and then have dress down again. I think I can just keep waiting. I don't think I'm forced to go in here. I don't think it's a huge deal to continue waiting. Obviously, my opponent's not going to make their own construct tokens here with an Oath of Druids in play. So the Saga is just searching them for an artifact. The worst thing for us is probably a Sensei's Top if they have one, but they might not even have a Sensei's Top. Oh, they can just bulk key us? Yeah, I guess that's pretty bad. Oh, all right. Well, that is about the worst possible outcome. I am like pretty sick of Time Vault Key, but what can I say? Right. I'm just trying to find a force. I'm aware that we have a lot of 12/12s. It's just that they're not really relevant. I could have obviously strip mined the Wasteland of the Saga, but the chance my opponent has Time Vault in their hand is pretty low, and I don't really think that's how you wanted to play this game out. I think we wanted to try to establish the best possible hand we could and like pressure our opponent to do the Atraxa thing. Like the minute they play an Orchard, we can end of turn Oath, or sorry, end of turn Dress Down, go in on our Dreadnoughts, and then have Dress Down for their Atraxa. I think the line we took was good. I think this is just like the maximum punish. Maybe after drawing the Misty Rainforest, I'm supposed to Wasteland the Saga. That's like not an unreasonable thing to say. But now I have Grafdigger's Cages and Flusterstorm. That's basically it. I do have Spell Pierces in my deck, which are pretty good against Oath as well. Probably can just take out an island. And then maybe some of these Bowmasters are not that great. Did I say disfavored? Yeah, it's not really a word. I don't know. I think the thing we did made sense and it just didn't work out. There's absolutely a chance that like at some point in that game we could have gone Dress Down and played double Dreadnought and won, right? That's definitely a possibility of something that could have happened. But I think the probability of that was low enough, and the probability of us dying was also pretty low. So yeah, is what it is. I would imagine this matchup is quite challenging. There's nice that we do have cages, but being a blue-black deck against Oath that needs creatures to win is not a great place to be. Bauble, Fetch Land, Merchant Scroll, Time Walk with a Wasteland. Yeah, it's not the most powerful hand, but I think that's fine for this matchup. I also don't believe my opponent is like all in and has show and tells either. Like you really don't run show and tell and saga and oath and all in the same deck. Doesn't really work out very well. I mean, I think your answer to oath is pretty reasonably using the stack. I don't think you like have to answer resolved oath, and if you want to, you could just like simply play repeal. I think it's totally fine. I just don't think it's a huge issue. I definitely want that card. All right, so next turn we can go Time Walk Wasteland. We can go Time Walk Scroll Ancestral. Lots of options. Yeah, I mean, you can make the matchup better. I don't know if you need to make the matchup better, per se. Like, 4 Dress Downs definitely helps. I actually think Dress Down is, like, incredible versus this deck. It goes all in a lot on an Atraxa, and a 7/7... Like, the Atraxa maybe wins the game on the, without the trigger a lot, but not as much as you'd think. I'm just going to hold that. Fetch land, Lorien revealed. Okay, that opens us up to, like, go Time Walking, which I think is good. Because it's just giving me a blue card to pitch to forest. So here, I'm just going to progress this game. And I'm going to go Time Walk. If they bluster this, that's totally fine as well for us. Not worried at all. Sure. I would much rather they fluster. So this is a Volcanic Island as well. So they probably are playing like the Breach deck. Pyroblast. Okay, that's a little bit... I mean, I'm happy my opponent's not going like Orchard with Pyroblast back up. So they definitely are on their own version of Oath here. Not the stock show and tell deck. Which I think I knew that. We played them a few times in leagues before. But Yeah, I think maybe if I would go back and play that game again, last game, I would probably, considering I drew Misty Rainforest, I think it's okay to use a Wasteland on Saga just to stop them from getting key. I didn't really register key, Vault Key as a possible way to lose that game. Pearl. Lorian. Cycle the Brainstorm. Very nice. How legal is today's stream? What does that mean? What are we trying to say here? Look at, has anyone seen the chat when Lorian comes in? It's L-A-A cubed? What is going on? L I hate this stupid card because it doesn't show up in the Stream Decker export, so I have to like do it manually. It's just a nightmare. All right, so my opponent has 3 cards left in hand. We've got a Dreadnought. We can't waste them off green. I'm like kind of I unfortunately can't really beat Fluster either. But I kind of like the idea of just going Scroll, Ancestral, and casting Ancestral. Obviously, there's some downsides to this, but I think with no red up and my opponent being on so low on cards, yeah. Even then, this isn't the end of the world because we can still force something that we couldn't before. I guess theoretically, I could have wastelanded the tropical island and then cast Scroll, but then I'm still in the same spot. I guess not in the same spot. I could wasteland the tropical island, cast Scroll, and then on my next turn play my other land, and I'm actually Flusterstorm proof. Maybe that was better then. But then I can get like Hardcast Negation, Pyroblast. So it's not like if I was trying to beat exactly Flusterstorm, that line would have been better. But then I would maybe lose this Saga tokens with no wasteland. So yeah, that's fine. I guess if they make a Saga token, then I don't have to worry about getting oathed. So it's not the end of the world. And I have 4 dress downs in my deck. Snow-covered forest? Wait. We're playing Urza's Saga, Snow-covered island, Snow-covered forest, Volcanic Island, Pyroblast? I guess Lorien Revealed kind of lets you do that. Maybe they boarded in forest because they know I was on Wasteland, but I don't know if I would do that. I'm going to definitely get my Lurrus here. If they're going to make a construct token and we're going to play that game, then a Lurrus with a Bauble should really beat that pretty easily, especially with Forcible backup. I like the spot we're in, actually. I think we're in a good spot. What is this? Hardcast Lorien? Yeah, I think that'd be bad for us. Let's stop that from happening. All right, I mean, it's just so weird to play Saga and Oath. It's just such an it's just the anti-synergy, the non-bow is so powerful. I guess I should play around Daze, but they really shouldn't have a Daze in this deck. All right, I got a Bobble. See my top card. Graph Digger's Cage. I actually think that's totally reasonable to get here. Well, it's pretty bad with my Lurrus, I guess. But I could always cycle a second Bobble before I play it. I think it's fine. I think it covers one of the ways we lose this game, which is my opponent just slamming a Oath after. Or sorry, not an Oath right now. Yeah. They did draw an Orchard, but they're out of cards. So they should probably still make that attack. Oh, I guess I have them lifelinking, so. All right, so I was gonna say we can play Cage first, so that if it gets countered, we can replay it, but we don't need to do that. So we're just gonna start with Bobble. I guess we want to. Trying to figure out. We're probably cycling this Lorien no matter what, so I guess we want to do that first. Oh god, there's only one more fetchable. Okay. So we're not going to be able to use our Bobble anymore because of the cage. I can't cast spells from my graveyard. But that's okay. Do I want a strip mine is the next question. I'm actually probably supposed to attack because this construct doesn't get better, or this construct gets better and my Lurrus doesn't get better. I think I'm gonna keep strip mine for the reason that chat said. It stops Saga from being an out here. At any time they can make orchard tokens, so I am going to play Bowmaster. I'm also going to fetch my last island because I don't want this fetch land to be dead. Dress down. That's nice. All right, well. Sweet. 1 mana, 12/12 Trampler. And we get to know their top card. Ruby. All right, this looks like a locked up game then. Yeah, I mean, if they have Force of Vigor, they have Force of Vigor. So be it. All right, let's go. That's a good game win. I'm glad we kept that cage because that would have been so bad for us. Orchard Oath. All right, game 3. Yeah, this is fine. We can resubmit. Atraxa. It's basically just Atraxa. For a while, it was Grizzlebrand Niv Mizzet. Sometimes you run Sarah's Emissary in the board for specific creature matchups. And sometimes, at some point in the metagame, you ran Archon of Cruelty. But now, Atraxa is just so broken. It's just Atraxa all the way. Some people try to convince you that you want to run 3 Atraxas and 1 Grizzlebrand, which I think is not very good. I think you should either be playing 2 Atraxas and Gaia's Blessing, or you should be playing 4 Atraxas and Show and Tell. That's my opinion. And then I do like 2 Sarah's Emissary in the board. I think they're super strong, especially in the Show and Tell list. Atraxa pitches the Force of Will. Atraxa pitches the Force of Vigor. I have a whole video on it. Exclamation mark Atraxa. Oh, I needed to do an exclamation mark Lorien for the Lorien video. If you haven't watched that already and you're on YouTube, you should watch that. It's a good video. I think the Atraxa video is better, but the Lorien video is all right. Add com Lorien. Boom. Sweet. Oh, I should have put the playlist watch. Yeah, whatever, it's fine. All right, I have a cat. I've got a cage. I've got a force. I'm like a little low on mana, but definitely keeping this. I like this a lot. Opponents at least mulling to 6. Right? Oh no, they just haven't chosen their play. They haven't chosen their 7 yet. Okay. They kept 7. All right, we'll keep 7. Sounds like actually a little weak to Saga start is what I was gonna say. Yeah. I guess we have Demonic Strip or Demonic Dress Down, so we're not actually... Our deck is just, like, so good against Saga. Let's see what's in your hand. My opponent has Sapphire Force, Oath, Breach, Ruby, Nature's Claim. No, it's not like that. It's gonna be kind of hard. Saga is gonna probably just make them constructs. I don't think they're gonna make... I mean, they're probably going to get green. And overall, it's just pretty bad for me. I didn't even draw the land. I almost don't want to play this Grafdigger's Cage because I don't want them to make constructs. I don't know if that's like a reasonable line to take here, but I think that's what I'm going to do. I really need to draw a land on my next turn or a Mox. If I don't draw a mana, I think I'm going to lose. I guess I theoretically could counter Ruby, which will turn off Saga. Breach is like a pretty compact kill that you can get off of Saga, so it makes sense to run Breach in your, more controlling Oath of Druids deck. All right, so they didn't draw land and they didn't want to force or didn't draw the blue card for force. We stopped them from making Saga tokens. We stopped them from having red mana for their Breach. Though they obviously still have access to this Saga to either turn into a Black Lotus or an Emerald. We really, really want to draw land here. It's not land. I am going to play this cage now. I need to use my mana, and even if this gets a bad trade here, I can maybe get enough cards in my yard to get something going. I assume my opponent is just going to get an Emerald here. Or maybe they get a Black Lotus and they go Claim and Oath. We'll see which they choose to do. Though if they go Claim and Oath, then I would just force... Okay, so they're going to get the Oath in now. So the problem with this is if I let this resolve now, they can just fight over Claim with Force of Will later. And if I force this now, it doesn't do anything. But yeah, I think this just makes sense to force now. Okay. Again, I think I still just need fetch. Ponder's fine. Mycosynth Gardens, Lorien Revealed, Borkish Bowmaster. That is the slowest mana I've ever seen. But it's definitely a keep. So I'll get the gardens, play the gardens, then next turn I can cycle and get a mana, and I have Demonic Tutor, Bowmaster, and Cruise is coming too. Seems like a decent spot. Drew a top, so they do have a top in their deck. Okay. It's going to be a hard game still, I think. We have a pretty vulnerable cage here. It's kind of cool that Breach can just be Snapback Oath of Druids. I guess technically we could Gardens and copy Cage if we had mana. But I don't know when we're ever going to have mana realistically. All right, so this gives me enough to cast any of my spells. I think I like just cruising. Nice. All right, I'm just going to play second Cage then. Obviously, this exposes me to Vigor, but they might not even have Vigor based on the fact that I see Claim. It's kind of hard to play Vigor in your deck if you don't have enough green cards. And we do have Mycosynth Lattice Assurance for an upkeep Vigor as well. Probe F6. So I have a Bowmaster. I have Double Cage. I have Demonic Tutor. They have Saga. I can just tutor for Wasteland. Which I probably will do. Yeah, I think that's the best play. I guess if they just force this, it's kind of bad for us. They can just make Saga tokens, right? I guess we have a Bowmaster and a Luris. The Luris is not very good with the cages. But this does give us some blockers. They probably are supposed to force this tutor. Oh, they're going to claim a cage. Yeah, that's totally fine. Oh, they're going to fluster. Claim fluster. That's not fine. They're going to spin for fluster. Wow. Oh, they know they have fluster? I could have Bowmastered in response, but I think that's... Maybe I should have Bowmastered in response. I just felt like holding up Spell Pierce was good. But maybe I should have Bowmastered in response. That went really badly for us. I guess they're not going to be able to replay top. Huh. Yeah, I mean, if they went blue card for force, then we would have had Spell Pierce covering it, and we would have been probably just winning on the spot. So that's true. If it was blue card, I mean, it could have been blue card for force if they wanted it to be. Obviously, Fluster's a little bit better than that. So they know they drew top. They can't do anything. They have to start making constructs here. Yeah, I mean, we have 4 dress down in our deck. I agree. It shouldn't matter too much. But this also gets them Black Lotus. If they like kill my other cage, which shouldn't happen. All right, drew a dress down. So let's let them make 2 constructs and hold everything up. I mean, we have 4 dress downs in our deck for a reason, yeah. Oh, true. They did rearrange, so they could technically have... Yeah, but they can't replay the top no matter what, right? Because they can't draw a land and a top. I guess is what I was trying to say. But yes, they did rearrange, so they may have not drawn a top. That's true. All right, do I want to hit this now? I think so. Oh, maybe they rearrange the top so they can search for it. Yeah. I think I'm gonna go with 1 garden. Yeah. Lotus. If they do kill this cage before finding an oath, we can always rebuy our cage with Luris. But yes, of course, we can Gardens our Cage if we want to make sure we don't die to Oath or Breach. That's why I want to leave up like at least one Gardens. But yeah, we always have to keep up a Garden and another thing. Oh, fuck off. We're not going to die to this, are we? I'll be so mad if we lose the Vault Key again. No, it should just be 1 mana and Gardens. I'll be so mad if we lose the Vault Key again. I mean, I'm not gonna let them have a Sensei's Top here. They probably still have Force too. Maybe they got rid of Breach. Well, they didn't shuffle yet. So, I mean, I obviously like Spell Pierce kind of helps me against Time Vault, but I just like don't think that's what we want to be doing. Strand. These draws are not very good. I think we're just gonna lose to frickin' Vault Key again. Oh, I guess to leave up a Gardens, I have to use my whatever. I don't need this freaking Black Lotus. It's fine. All right. Well, if my opponent Vault Keys me, I die. There's nothing I can do about it. I would be very, very upset if that happens, but it is what it is. All right, well, at least that means the Spell Pierce wasn't going to save me from Time Vault. They have at least Breach Force in their hand, though, so they only have 2 unknowns. Obviously, I couldn't replay anything off of my Lurrus because my Cage stops me, but I think, again, that's okay. Oath is fine. All right, so I can't activate Cage. Oh, I guess I can activate Gardens right now. Because if they were to remove it on the stack, I can just rebuy it with Lurrus. So I think that's actually worthwhile. Why? I mean, it makes perfect sense why we have Cage in our deck log. Oath is the second most played deck in the format on Sundays. Okay. Well, we're pretty much insulated against Oath, so. I'd like a Lorien revealed. I'd like a... Oh. Yeah. Wait, so they could have abraded, but they chose to abrade the Lurrus instead of hitting the Cage because I would have just replayed Cage, I guess. For your blue-black deck against Oath of Druids? No, there actually aren't. And like all the matchups where Cage is good, Lurrus is kind of irrelevant. So I think Cage and Lurrus is totally fine. It's much, much worse if you play a Cage in your Tinker deck, in my mind. All right, opponent is just trying to buy as much time as possible here. I could turn this Gardens into a bauble for extra draws. Right, they should still have Force Breach in hand. I guess we know their top card with this. Orchard. Okay. No, that's not the problem. The problem is when you tinker for a Citadel and you hit Cage. The problem is not when you have a Cage in play and have a tinker in your hand. It's literally not a problem. So my opponent does have Hardcast Force here. All right, so they're going to Hardcast Force my Lorien revealed. I'm just going to play this Jet so that I can have blue mana after if they choose not to. All right, so I get an extra damage here with that. And all right, it's top deck war. They have a Breach that's dead, an Oath that's dead. They have a Key, so if they draw Tinker or Time Vault, they win. See what happens. That's exactly why Lorien's incredible. Top deck, instead of top decking a land, I top decked a draw 3. The Mycosynth Gardens copied the cage. Dress down. I'm gonna hold that for now. Well, the only thing holding this is good for is if they play Sagas. Whereas if we just draw Dreadnought, we can put the game on a clock. I'm just actually gonna cast this now. I guess if they top decked an Ancestral Recall, I probably would have just cast Ancestral Recall if I was them on their main phase. And I want this Dress Down to come back on the next turn, or I want it to be off in case they draw it next turn. Yeah, I'm just gonna cast Dress Down now. If I were them, I would have just cast Ancestral and just taken the extra damage. It's not lethal, so. Wasteland. Yeah, I'm gonna use Wasteland and turn off red. Doesn't really turn off red, but just keep them off of extra mana. If they're kind of late on a Saga token here, I think we can Wasteland and be okay. I guess they're not technically late on a Saga token if they top deck exactly at this turn, but that also turns off Lorien Revealed off the top. I guess Lorien Revealed off the top is lethal, so maybe I don't want to do that. So maybe holding that Wasteland actually is correct. I'll Brainstorm lock myself here to get one more shot at action. Dress down Dreadnought. Okay. All right, well, they got a top deck Time Vault. I guess they technically could still have Vigor, and maybe I'm just supposed to be holding up Gardens. I guess I can still hold up Gardens and play Dress Down Dreadnought, so. Because they could definitely Vigor end of turn hit both my things. As long as I hold up Gardens, it's fine. And I could always make a second Dreadnought here as well. All right, so it's just Time Vault, really. Tinker and Time Vault. All right, got there. This matchup seems a little challenging, but doable. Very doable. All right, round 2. Looks like Ryan is testing for Eternal Weekend, maybe. Exciting. Pretty much the full range of decks can come out from the Winged Hussar, so can't really pin that one down. Though they do like to have Bazaar of Baghdad, so maybe this Wasteland will cover some nice ones. Definitely a keeper. This hand is a little clunky, but I think having Wasteland against Ryan's range is pretty solid. And we also have turn 1 Ponder anyways. So. Yeah, I mean, Ryan is liable to play a variety of spice, so we'll just have to see. All right, so I will definitely take this where I will draw Force, and then I have access to a land and a bauble. I like this a lot. Because now I actually have access to something like Time Walk Wasteland, use bauble. It's very nice. Drawing Force off my Ponder is good for those wondering. All right. Scalding Tarn. That can mean a variety of things. I think I am interested in doing the walking the walk. And then I'm going to see what my opponent's top card is with this bauble. Just try to figure out my game plan. Talarian Academy. All right, I'm gonna just go Wasteland, put Lurrus in my hand. It's kind of cute that Mycosynth Lattice has not Mycosynth Lattice. Mycosynth Gardens has the rainbow colored cycle here that lets me theoretically, if I draw an off-color Moxen, I could actually play Lurrus. Underground Sea, Vampiric Tutor. What is this? Old frame, new art. I don't know, man. Doesn't click. Bowmaster. All right, well, I hope we don't get like tinkered with force backup. Ooh, are we getting beseeched? Are we getting turn 3 murdered here? Possible. Blue. Okay. Black. Okay. Demonic tutor. Okay. I mean, if they kill us with force backup, they kill us with force backup. Not much we can have done about this. At every point, they've had the ability to Flusterstorm me, so can't be helped. No, I think they're just going to tinker with Flusterstorm back up here. I assume. Just tinker with force backup, pitching Lavinia. So just Esper tinker. Okay. I'm going to F6. We'll let them play through this. Yeah, Mystical should be game. If they just get Yogwell on top and go Crypt, Lotus, Tinker for a Sensei's top, and then they're in great condition. I guess if they have a Storm card, they can Mystical for a Storm card on top and win that way as well. I'm going to let them do this just to see if they are, in fact, beseeching us. They're probably not beseeching us considering they played Lavinia, but... We've already given up all of our information by simply playing a Mycosynth Garden, so I think there's ample reason to let my opponent go for it here. Okay, so they're going to go for Key, and then they're going to go tinker their Mana Crypt away. Yeah, so all they'll do is play a Saga if they want to constrain information here, so let's just concede this game and move to number 2. Definitely am interested in Flusterstorm, and I kind of wish we had like a Null Rod here. A Null Rod is what I'm really looking for out of the board in this scenario. Do I want to have access to... I think I might want to have access to a single Steel Sabotage. I think there's a lot of value in that. Let's get rid of like one island and one Bowmaster maybe. The Esper Tinker decks really actually don't have that many cards that draw cards. I guess they technically have Lorien revealed now, so maybe that's not actually the case. But I'd be hard-pressed to get rid of a Dress Down. Maybe we can trim a Lorien. It's like a little weird to trim a Lorien and an island, but this list only had 3 Loriens to start. I changed one Bauble for one Lorien anyways. And a lot of the times you build your decks in Vintage with at least one extra land so that you are more insulated against things like Wasteland and Sphere Resistance. And so for a lot of times I'll trim basic against decks that are not going to Wasteland me. That's not true for every deck, obviously, but for most decks it is. Like a lot of these decks can play 17 lands. You see lots of lists that play 17 lands in these kind of blue Saga Wasteland things. Obviously, our deck's a little bit different than those, but... not much we could have really done about this game. We even drew the necessary force of will off of our ponder, so really, that's just vintage. The power of Tinker. All right, we are doing the full 2.5. Oh, it's because they're double queuing and limited preliminary. Classic doctor, always using time super efficiently. I was like wondering. I was like, can't imagine we need to be in. Oh, they probably didn't even sideboard. They might have missed it. But a limited preliminary is a limited preliminary. What do I got? I've got dress down. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna try to hit that land drop after I cut 2 lands from my deck. If I can hit my land drop here, I just can go end of turn dress down double knot. I definitely like that. I have access to counter magic. I'm gonna keep it, and I'm gonna hope I don't get punished. But could easily just not draw my other mana source and die. It is what it is. But I mean, I think this is a definitely keepable hand. I like the coverage it has. Just need to get lucky. Would we steal sabotage a mana stone on turn 1? Unlikely. I would like to just steal sabotage, bounce a citadel, or bounce a construct, or bounce a vault key, a time vault with a trigger with a activation on the stack. If they were just like raw dog a Lotus, yeah, I might. A mana crypt, I might. But like any other Moxen, no. I would probably hit a Sensei's top. Those are probably it. Lotus, Mana Crypt, Sensei's top, probably. All right, Ryan, come back. Your limited game can't be that fun. There's no way the limited match can be as fun as turn 1 Tinker. I guess it was turn 2 Tinker. It is what it is. Oh, I'm gonna take a nap. Chat, tell me what you did this weekend. Entertain me. Ryan's out here sabotaging my YouTube videos. What he's doing. Lorcana. Disney princesses. And you almost won. Very nice. What's the best deck in Lorcana? I slept a lot. Not bad. I rate that highly. Vintage Cube, very fun. In person, I like drafting Vintage Cube in person. It's fun. Good hangs. Chicago, boyfriend had to take a course for his wine certification. What are you getting certified in wine? Like smell it, like what kind of what do you get certified? Like knowing about wine, pouring wine, serving wine. In the finals, I got effed by Robin Hood. It's just a statement, but it feels like it carries so much. Bottle of Jameson and good old games of speed. Woof. All right, okay. Anime and movies instead of Destiny 2. Fair. All right. Saga Gaming. And pass. All right. Please, mana sources. I need mana. I need mana. Mana. Oh, it's so doomed. Oh, I would definitely play the One Ring and 4th Aelingas in Cube, for sure. 4th Aelingas was probably one of my top vintage Cube cards when I played the couple rounds that I did play on Magic Online recently. fourth Eolingas is along with the big bird, the red-white bird. The red-white bird is like so strong. Could not tell you what it's called. Oshtani? No, that's the baseball player. Well, I think I might have mixed the two or combined the two there. But it's something like that. All right, found the pearl. All right, so now we have Dreadnought available. Oh, Thari. That's the one. There's no S in either of those names. I could have sworn there was an S in the bird's name, but I'm clearly wrong. All right, make constructs. Do it. More constructs. I'm liking my chances here. I am gonna respond. Oh no, I have to do it end of turn, so I guess I'm not responding with shite. Oh my god, I'm gonna get fucking needled. I'm gonna get needled. I didn't crack my fetch land. All right, well, it's too late. All right, well, now we're gonna lose this game horribly. I was so bored waiting for my opponent to come back from double queuing, talking to chat, and I just like clicked through shit. Oh well. All right, hopefully we draw another blue land here. Yeah, we're doomed. Well, I threw this game, chat. My bad. This is actually like you think I'm making excuses, but this is actually a huge problem that I have is playing Magic the Gathering online leagues by like not on stream. This happens to me all the time because I just simply can't focus when I'm, ahead like 4 or 5 minutes on the clock. And I like it's actually a huge issue. Wow, we're actually gonna get hit so low we won't even be able to fetch if we find a fetch. Oh no, we're gonna die. All right, well. Like, I really struggle with it. It's like, it's a nice part about streaming is for the most part, I can like keep myself focused on the game by talking about the game with chat. But yeah. Oh well, exclamation mark F6. All right, let's try again. Hopefully our opponent will play Magic with us. Yeah, this hand's totally fine. If our opponent plays turn 1 Oath, obviously that's not great for us, but our hand has a variety of mana, dress downs. I like it a lot. Ruby. Tropical Misty Pass. All right, Misty Pass. Okay. Tarn, Sapphire, Ponder, Pearl, Bowmaster, Strip Mine. Okay, I'm definitely interested in Pearl. We'll have to see if we want to drop the Strip Mine later. We can obviously fetch away. Look for the end of turn, dress down 12-12 maybe. See what they do. Pass. Interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna go dress down. I think I'm willing to put some pressure on my opponent here. Not the best draws. I wish I could play Dreadnought and cast Lorien Reveal this turn. But I guess it's just going to be Dreadnought and then Bowmaster hold up. Probably not getting Luris. Don't think that matters. No. You should definitely play Blue-Black Mogged. I would not register the card Standstill in 2023. I would not want to play the Dreadnought version. There's like a question. The only question in my mind is Blue-Black the best combination for Luris Saga, because there's definitely an argument to be made that playing blue-white makes more sense. Well, I think my opponent is on Oath, or they're likely on Oath, not on like Bug or whatever. But yeah, I would definitely, if I was going to choose between the three things you offered me, I would play blue, black, Mogged. But I kind of want to test blue, white, Samwise with the 9 colorless lands as well. Feels really strong. Feels like it could be really strong. I don't know exactly what's happening to my opponent right now, but I'm down. Okay. Well, I'm going to attack first. Mana Crypt. That doesn't tell me anything. It does tell me they're not on Bug, I guess. Well, it's bad for us if they're stuck on 2 mana with Show and Tell in hand, because they are drawing mana. All right, this is going to get countered. Okay. All right. Well, the good news is that theoretically, we are still beating Atraxa. Oh, they fetched away the Mana Crypt. That's nice. Didn't draw the Force. All right, let's see what happens. All right, I guess they never drew a mana. So that went pretty well. I'm gonna board like they're on Oath. I think it's kind of reasonable to do so. And what did we take out last time? Did we just take out Bone Masters, right? And an island. Yeah, I like that. Let's do that. All right. My hand has Force Pierce. Yeah, I'm down. Feel like I've opened some nice hands. Yeah, no, I mean, I think the Lorien revealed 9 colorless land shell is very, very good. And I think there's a lot of room to work. I love Mogged. Mogged is a very powerful magician, but I think some of the choices that Mogged has made in the deck are questionable. And I think he gets away with a lot because of how good he is at Magic, is what I would say. So obviously, if I dress down an Atraxa, it's still good for me, but I think we're not currently beating an in-play Atraxa, so I'm gonna force this first. Looks like our opponent has turn 1 Show and Tell with Flusterstorm backup. Not much we can really do about that. That's just Magic. All right, I'm gonna put this dress down in. So we have stopped the Atraxa, but we are still have to beating a Flying Vigilance, Lifelinking, Death Touching thing, and we do not currently have any 12/12s. But we can draw Ancestral. That's like Ancestral. I think I'm going to try to high roll here and just go Lotus, Blue Mana, Brainstorm, and try to find like some kind of crazy shenanigans. Wasteland, Wasteland. Well, we're definitely going to get rid of Underground Sea, Wasteland. And then we're going to Demonic. And then we could theoretically... Maybe this deck should just have a Caracas in the board. I don't think that's good. I mean, it's not bad, but... Like, it just has to be Ancestral, right? We need to find a way to get multiple Dreadnoughts going and quickly. The best thing we can do is like Ancestral into Mox Time Walk, into like Treasure Cruise, into like double Dreadnought, triple Dreadnought or something. All right, we found a Dreadnought. Brazen Bar, you can't cast with Lurrus in your deck. You can play Void Snare. I think Caracas is probably the best answer, but... So I think I have to play a non-wasteland here so that I can make a 12-12. It's just not going to be good enough. Yeah, I mean, it's just one 12-12 is not enough. I need to draw multiple 12-12s, right? I think it's just too fast. Okay, all right. You've bested me. Okay. It is what it is. I mean, you could play like a Death Mark. There are tons of options you can play if you actually want to kill an Atraxa. I don't think you do. You just kind of want to win the stack war or have a cage for Oath. But Krakus is definitely a choice you could make. You do have like dress down, so like Krakising an Atraxa is better than it would normally be. Mind Harness. Yeah, that's a vintage legal magic card. Yeah, this is totally fine. So how are we playing this out? Should we just hold open Bowmaster Fluster? Looks pretty good. No, I think we want to hold open Bowmaster Fluster. Because this can cycle into one blue. And then if we need to, we can demonic on our next turn for like a wasteland or for ancestral or whatever. It's kind of cute. This card makes blue mana. Like the show and tell deck is not really incentivized to wait usually. It's more of a jam deck. There's a lot of value in holding open everything. Unfortunately, if I had my Spell Pierce, I could hit that, but I only have Fluster. Oh well. All right, let's get the Bowmasters in. I am just hoping to draw a land mostly. Yeah, that vibes. And hold up Flusterstorm over casting Demonic. Well, there's definitely upside to Demonicing there. Yeah, maybe I'm just supposed to Demonic there. I just don't know what I'm Demonicing for. Spinning now. Well, I'm thinking that like I would maybe get Ancestral, but we have a Merchant Scroll. I'd like to like Demonic for Wasteland, but I don't know if I'm like allowed to do that until I see what land my opponent plays. Like I think Demonic Wasteland here is pretty nice. They do have a Sensei's Top spinning for lands, but Next turn, I can revealed into an island, and then we're still holding open Flusterstorm, or we're casting Merchant Scroll. If we hit a Moxen, we could just like Merchant Ancestral. You'd be surprised how frequently DT for Strip Mine is a very good play. All right, well, they found the fetch land. It's pretty good for them. Another Bowmaster. So I am just going to Island Cycle, grab Underground Sea, and I'm not going to cast Bowmasters to deal an extra damage. I'm just going to hold open Flusterstorm and Bowmaster. Yeah, I mean, we are the control deck. Like, our deck is a little bit more tempo. I did not expect that to happen. That's my bad. I probably would have flashed in Bowmaster if I knew that was going to happen. Didn't really see that coming. That's my bad. Another F6 moment today. I guess it all worked out. I'm not even sure this is... Huh. They go to 3. We're beating Oath. But they could go like show and tell. I'm not really sure that this is correct. I guess theoretically I can have Merchant Scroll Ancestral target them. This feels... Oh, they had double Force Tinker. Okay. I mean, we still have lethal. I would rather they use their forces and pitch Tinker than hold their forces and then have backup. I'm not really convinced I played that correctly. I think I was definitely supposed to respond to the Sensei's top draw with Bowmaster. Was that 2 games? Oh, it was 3 games. Okay. All right, let's do it again. This deck is pretty interesting. I assume it's like kind of similarly interesting as playing like blue-black. I do intend to stream like the blue-white version of the blue-black deck at some point. I like this hand a lot. We have Misstep, Gardens, Wasteland covers a lot of angles, and we even have Lorien revealed to get a blue. I like this a lot. We need to have 3 mana to play Dreadnought Copy if we want to do that. They've mulled to 4. It's a good sign for our Wastelands. But kind of an interesting stream, actually. The Oath matchup just seems very, especially the control Oath matchup seemed very intricate. All right, so you have Mulligan to 5, to 4, Wasteland, but they don't want to use the Wasteland. Interesting. All right, well, I'm gonna go Island Cycle here for a basic island then. Just so we can make sure we have... Wow, isn't that draw like nuts? Because we can go Dreadnought now. Oh, I guess they could respond by Wastelanding, so we can't go Dreadnought now. All right, so we can just put Lurrus in our hand. The fact that we can rebuy our Dreadnought with Lurrus is kind of sick, too. That hasn't come up yet. Basic planes. Oh. Okay, mono white. Huh. They pitched Archon and kept Anointed Peacekeeper. Can we stop doing this, chat? Who do I need to talk to? This is the best card in your deck. I know I have a Lurrus in hand, so maybe it makes more sense. But, like, this card's broken. All right, it's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Daijoubu. I guess theoretically, dress down stops Archon anyway. I don't know. I don't know. I want an Archon in play if I'm my opponent, I think. Dreadnought has been called. Okay. Through the Force. I think I am just going to Wasteland their Wasteland. Which I couldn't do if there was an Archon of Amira in play. I can take some 3/3 hits for a little while. I could choose to play Lurrus, but I think that's worse than just wastelanding their wasteland, keeping my Mycosynth going. I guess there's like a question of should I brainstorm? I guess there's like not a lot of reason not to brainstorm, so I probably should have brainstormed first. Because like this Missile Misstep's gonna get pitched to Bowmaster. So I hit a white mana. I guess a second Dreadnought is not very good. Now I can just cast Lurrus, though. So that's got to be nuts. So let's just hide a Dreadnought and the Strip Mine. And because we drew the on-color Moxen, it's kind of wild. And we have a Force if they don't draw a Cavern. No follow-up play. Okay. No attack? I guess they don't want me to Dreadnought, so it's fine, I guess. But I can still Dreadnought. Is Dreadnought better than Strip Mine? Yeah, I think with a Force it is. All right, our first copy Dreadnought with Mycosynth Gardens. It's kind of exciting. Is there any upside to sacking You always want to sack the one that we can replay. This is the one we can replay, right? The tapped one? Wouldn't we want to be able to replay from our yard? Am I confused? I guess you can't play it with a dress down in play. I'm just trying to figure out what the upsides are. I'm not seeing it. Like, we can replay. I mean, I guess there's like not a lot of replayability of a Dreadnought. Because you can't ever dress down and replay a Dreadnought. I have to have like another Gardens. But I guess that could happen. Yeah, I think I'm supposed to sack this one, but I might be missing something. I'm not sure. Oh, I could cast it and have a dress down on the stack because it has flash. True. Yeah, that's true. Dress down is so good, chat. It's crazy. Dress down is the good cards, I must say. Yeah, I guess theoretically I can attack with the 12/12 trampler and then bring back the non one and get vigilance for a single turn. That is true. And I actually have a second Dreadnought coming too, right? So I could theoretically do that every turn if I wanted to. Is there a world where I can just let this resolve? Nah, screw that. I'm gonna strip mine them. If my Dreadnought wasn't 3 mana with this Peacekeeper, I'm just gonna hold up this Bowmaster and then is that makes us have a lethal attack? I guess we would already have a lethal attack. Okay, interesting. All right, well, we're gonna bring in Dismember and Snuff Out, and this is the best matchup. Interesting. What are you taking out? Bowmasters or no? You probably want Bowmaster. What are you taking out here? Negation. Interested? Well, I could, but the Bowmaster, sorry, the Dreadnought costs 3 mana because of the 3/3, so I wanted to just hold up the Bowmasters. You want to take out Misstep? You don't think they're bringing in swords? You don't think it's not? You don't think it's good? I mean, these Spell Pierces are terrible, right? On the draw, they're like garbage. Those have to be worse. I feel like Pierce, like Dig and Pierce, maybe. I feel like that makes a lot of sense to me. Like, obviously, Misstep is only hitting swords, but I do think swords is important. I could be convinced that's not true, but I don't know. Definitely Spell Pierce on the draw. Spell Pierce gets better on the play against mono white, but on the draw it seems pretty bad. Yeah, that's a solid hand. Just a great hand. See if they have Chancellor Reveal. Chancellor Reveal makes this hand a lot worse, obviously. I wish I had nice Dreadnoughts, but they are like significantly more expensive if I remember correctly from the last time we played a Dreadnought stream. Yeah, these are worth 70% of 1 cent, and nice looking Dreadnoughts are worth 8.5 tickets. I'm not gonna counter Chrome Box. I am gonna counter this Thalia that was not caverned because I think I want to just do all of my deployment here. I'd really like to just fetch a basic island and draw a bunch of cards, get all my Moxen in play. Maybe put Luris in my hand. Interesting. So I can't scroll for shit, right? Because I got rid of the dig through time. I guess I can hard cast Snuff Out or do Luris next turn. Yeah, I got rid of the dig through time, so it actually, and I don't have an ancestral, so it's just brainstorm and force. Maybe a misplay on my part then. Okay. Ancient Tomb, Seasoned Dungeoneer. Okay. A Stifle, yeah. You play one Stifle maybe because you're. I don't know, man. Stifle is just like such a bad card, but I guess stifling the initiative maybe. I really don't like Stifle, but all right. What do I got? Mycosynth Gardens. All right. So the first thing we do is we buy our Luris, and then we play our Luris, and then we replay our Lotus. And we play Gardens, and then we play a Dreadnought and copy it. Or we could just snuff out the Seasoned Dungeoneer. We don't have a basic Swamp we can get. I guess we can hard cast the Lotus next turn. We can cast the Lotus again next turn anyways. So I think I'm just interested in copying a Dreadnought. And again, this is unblockable, so I'm just going to keep the copy in play. Okay. All right, so they're going down the Lost Well. It's good for our life total. Should we gotta dig through time in our deck? All right, so opponent went bottom, bottom, attack, Cavern of Souls on top, goes into their hand. This doesn't get any more power. Well, I mean, we had a Lotus, so we could have cast Snuff Out last turn if we wanted to, but that, like, leaves us pretty badly against Wasteland, right? So I definitely wanted to use my Gardens before they had the Wasteland up. Not sure we're actually winning this game right now. I guess they have 3 unknowns and a cavern. Kind of depends on what creatures they have in their hand. They do have hard cast Solitude, which would be kind of bad. I think if they simply have Solitude, it's pretty reasonable. Though I guess we have Black Lotus, Snuff Out Solitude, attack, steal the initiative, lifelink. I guess if they were to Solitude my Luris, they would never do that. White mana. White Plume. Pretty annoying. Oh, they're gonna goad my Luris. Interesting. Think I'm gonna kill the Dungeoneer. Attack all. I mean, they're just gonna trade their White Plume, right? I don't want them to block the Luris. Well, I guess I could Bowmaster after blocks. Well, I can't say go. I have to attack with both of my creatures. I think it's better for me to outright kill Dungeoneer with Snuff Out and then have them block with White Plume. I think it's better for me to just to cast this all now. There's like, of course, upside to going the other way, but I think this is just fine. This is a lethal attack. It's kind of wild. Wow, they have wow. I'm pretty sure I would have hard cast Solitude if I were them. Right? I guess this means they get to go down the Undercity some more and I don't get the initiative. Like, they let me... My Bowmaster's a lot worse with the stupid skeleton in play now. I mean, not 30. I want the initiative. Oh, I guess I can't block this thing, so they get to hit their throne. Ah, we should have like a repeal in our deck, man. A repeal would be so good here. I really like repeal in Merchant Scroll Moxen deck. Oh, we're super doomed, right? We're just super dead. Yeah, we're just dead. Losing this game is not great for us. Wow. I can't believe we lost this game. Uh, All right. Wow. I think we want these Pierces back in on the play, right? I think piercing their fast mana is better than like negating their fast mana. We're almost always holding up something anyways. All right. I have a cat. I've got everything nice. Okay, cool. Michael's in Gardens here. BBing blue mana is really, really sick. Sand sweep. I basically just got like everything covered, right? Thalia. Fast mana. I guess like the worst thing that could happen is Wasteland, right? Maybe we're just supposed to go dress down Dreadnought. I think that's worse, right? Oh, I can't go dress down Dreadnought, right? Well, I can't. I can. It would be end of turn. Wow, they have Crypt Pearl. Come on, man. All right, fair enough, I guess. And Wasteland? I guess yeah. All right. Fair enough, I guess. It's okay. 12-12, I guess. We know that their last card is Plains Unknown. They're going to go Lost Dwelling to find a Solitude. They went bottom, bottom. Maybe still winnable. Hell of a draw from my opponent. All right, blue card. Blue cards. Blue card. All right, drew a blue card. What a weird game. Just an extremely high power game. I'm going to not put Luris in my hand. I'm going to use Bowmaster to chump so we keep the initiative. Oh. I can't play Luris anyways. Is it true that I want to chump? Oh, they're just dead. Just dead to a 12-12. Wow. Just crazy. All right, here we go. I have a cat. We're playing for the pseudo trophy, kind of. I think this hand is probably a keep. It's a little awkward, but I have a force. I have Wasteland covering Bazaar on turn 2. Like, this is not a great hand, but I think it's a fine hand. Oh, you know all my secrets. They are a cat. True. Island. It's very good against my Wastelands. Probably not very good against Orcish Bowmaster, though. Would have loved to draw Mox in there. Would have been a lot. Oh, we're holding. We're not wastelanding me after you saw my hand? I feel like that's a little on the bold side. That's a solid draw. Fairy Mastermind. That one we definitely are leaving in play, considering it's a 2-1. Though we are getting wastelanded, so. Definitely not fighting over the Fairy Mastermind. Just need to draw Lorien Revealed, fetch land, something like that. You see nothing after that. Okay. There's a UC. Not doing this on my turn. There's definitely upside to doing this in their upkeep, though. I guess they theoretically can have like Ancestral that they've been holding on to. I'm not gonna force war over this. If they want to do that, that's fine. They don't know about my second Bowmaster either. Oh, come on! I got punished really hard. All right, that's fine. I mean, it's still just a 2-1. Still have Spell Pierce up. Yeah, sounds about right. Spectral Sailor. Okay. Combination gaming, kind of. Okay, there, friend. That one is a step too far. That is a step too. Oh, no. Oh, all right. Can't let Curious Obsession resolve. Sure hope I draw a freaking land again. Lorien Revealed? Bobble. Things are bad for the home team. They probably can't cast that card. But if they could, I will lose to that card 100%. This seems like not a great matchup, actually. I drew my other basic island, by the way. Bowmaster will eat what? What are you talking about? Okay. So I think what I'm gonna do is DT for Lotus and go Luris Lotus. Because I have access to Spell Pierce. What are you talking about? The Bowmaster gets to eat the... oh, they pitched the Murktide to negation. Okay. I think we've stabilized. I actually don't need to rebuy Lotus. I can actually just rebuy a Bowmaster Or I can play Bowmaster out of my hand and rebuy Bauble. Bowmaster out of my hand, rebuy Bauble. Wow, Luris is so strong. Hey, there's that island. Hopefully they don't have a second Murktide Regent. Wow, all right. I did not know if we were going to win that one. It was pretty damn close. All right, I think we're going to play some Lanterns. Flusterstorm. Can I just board out all the Wastelands? Is that like, how many Wastelands am I allowed to board out here? I mean, they kind of had to, maybe, I don't know. I kind of want to board out Wastelands and Negations. And bring in removal. Maybe I don't need this many Soul Guide Lanterns. Like, if my mana base can support me taking out all 4 Wastelands, I kind of want to. I probably can't do all 4. Well, I think we can. I'm gonna do it. All right, my turn to have all the mocks in. Pretty crazy hand. Should play around Days here. Don't think I want to play Brown Mindbreak Trap though. I think I'm gonna hold Bowmaster. But I'm gonna cycle the Lantern instead. Playing Luris is really good, but I can't protect my Luris from with a force or anything. So I think I'm gonna pass. And I kind of want to hold the Lorien Revealed in case we draw. Okay, well now I'm gonna cycle one of the Lorien Revealeds, so I can cast Lorien Revealed. Obviously, they can play like the Spectral Sailor now, but I think that's okay. Just gonna get my other basic island. I have a jet. So are we supposed to hold the Bowmaster back in case they have a Spectral Sailor? Probably. I also want to cast Lorien Reveal before they have like Mastermind. I guess Mastermind just gets eaten by Bowmaster anyways. That's fine. I'm gonna cast this. Because next turn I can cast. If they counter this, I can go like Luris. Play Luris kind of thing. Yeah, I mean that is bad. But we did play a 5-mana sorcery, so maybe I should have cast it first, so then they would have tapped out and I could have attacked with my Bowmaster. Probably true. Probably true. strip mine. I guess I did it to him, so. Dreadnought. Yeah, that's the downside to playing Dreadnought, isn't it? Sometimes you have to draw it. Look at your latest tweet. We can do that. I'm playing around the Spectral Sailor. Oh, girl's on fire. Yep, gotta send that to Nyx. Nyx was so happy today. I think there was like another one of her friends was doing some kind of photography thing, being on fire. And she's like, oh, more fire people. Very nice. All right, so now they can't even cast draw spells without like losing their Spectral Sailor. Dismember. I mean, I assume this Luris gets countered, but what am I gonna do? Not play it? It doesn't get countered. All right, I feel like it's better to play Soul Guide Lantern just because we want to keep our opponent from playing Murktide Regent. But I'm gonna probably cycle the Soul Guide Lantern end of turn. Oh wow, there was Daze. So we played around Daze, and we got the negation on the Soul Guide Lantern. Looks like they're going for Murktide. That could be bad for me. Well, this is Force of Negation. Luris is a creature. What? Oh my god, that feels Murktide. Wait, Murktide's gonna be a 5/5 though, right? Because there's only 2 instants in the yard right now. So it's a 3/3 up to a 5/5, and then it gets dismembered. That's crazy. I feel like almost a little bad. Feels bad, man. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. How many dismembers do you think actually kill Murktide Regents? Like, feels like very few. Preordain on top. I mean, it makes sense. They counter the Soul Guide Lantern. They got a Wasteland. They got there. If they cast Preordain, I guess just kills their Sailor. Yeah, I guess it's fine. I mean, a 6/6 Murktide Regent is really hard for my deck to beat, for what it's worth. Yeah, they are off it. Wow, we actually went 4-1. We just really screwed up round 2, unfortunately, with just didn't fetch and lost the whole set, and probably a winning scenario, at least in that game. We'd have to play a game 3, but I think there's like a reasonable chance that if I don't make that little blunder, we could have gone 5-0. It was definitely possible. Wow. All right, so the deck worked pretty well, all things considered. Lorien Revealed is just an absolute masterclass card when you play with all the Moxen. It's super strong. I really, really like it. No, the Dreadnought definitely won games on its own. It'd be really hard for our deck to beat Oath without the Dreadnought. I don't think the Dreadnought was bad. I think that the whole Dreadnought Gardens dress down worked together well enough. And I think the Dreadnought gives you angles that you would currently like have problems with. Like, I think the blue-black deck is kind of a little weak to Shops and Bazaar, whereas this deck is probably actually, well, maybe you're never beating Bazaar with a Dreadnought because of Vigor, but like, I think it gives you some game against decks you might typically be unfavored versus. So maybe it, shifts the matchup spread a little bit. So Yeah, this was cool. Thanks to Crazy Diamond for the list, and congrats on their top 8. I'm just sad I couldn't go for the 5-0. But yeah, if you like this list and you like this content, more vintage gameplay on my channel every Monday, Wednesday, and a Friday. I will see you then.